In the Brief Moments of Rest video, I talked about noticing words and pictures and resting as you see them or hear them, and then taking moments without words and pictures and noticing the fact that you're aware, which is deeply beneficial for addiction because you get to experience the peace and freedom that's inherent in the present moment, something that you can't really realize when you're thinking all the time. In this segment, I want to talk about the body a little bit more. As I said in the introduction, addiction is all about escaping or avoiding or trying to get rid of how we feel, the emotions and sensations. So recovery is about being with those experiences differently. And that takes practice. It doesn't come easily at first because we've had a lifetime of avoiding and escaping and trying to get rid of how we feel. The first thing we want to notice is that often with addiction, our attention is from the neck up, which just means we're thinking a lot. We rely on thinking for everything, including addictive thoughts. What you want to do as you're taking brief moments of rest is to become acquainted with your body, with the emotions and sensations, really in a completely different way than you're used to, being aware of that. What we're used to doing is thinking about how we feel. So if we say, I'm sad, or this has been a bad day, we're experiencing thoughts about how we feel. But as human beings, we don't just have a conceptual mind, we have a limbic system in which we feel emotions and sensations. Addiction, in a way, is all about escaping the limbic system into our conceptual minds. So recovery is about coming back into the limbic system and beginning to feel, really, everything that we're trying to get rid of or escape. How do we do that? One of the first things we need to do is just begin taking short moments of rest. Because in the moment when you're experiencing little to no thought, it's like the first opportunity to begin feeling from the neck down, which means bringing attention into the inner space of the body in the neck, the chest, the stomach, the pelvic area, and learning to relax without thought, bringing attention into whatever you feel, whatever sensation, but not about naming it and not about thinking about it. Because naming it and thinking about it is going back into the conceptual mind. We want to rediscover the limbic system in a way, rediscover our bodies, have a new relationship with our bodies. So when you're taking a brief moment, and I ask you to do it now, take a moment where you notice the current words, and then as the words come to rest, you take a moment of rest, a little space without words, and just feel into whatever's happening. Bring your attention all the way into whatever's there, and then do nothing. Feeling it is enough because it's a feeling. Sensing it is enough because it's a sensation. The key is to let it be as it is, just to feel it. At the most, notice space around it. Notice how it's floating in a space, the present space. And noticing that space all the way around it is just another way of letting it be as it is. So try that now. Notice the words or pictures. Take a moment of rest. Bring attention down into whatever sensation or emotion is there. Feel into it. Notice the space around it. Do nothing. Now, some of you can ease into that experience rather easily, but for some of us, our minds just get back involved. We start thinking about what happened yesterday or what might happen later, or we start wanting to talk or think about what it is we're feeling. That's okay. Just notice those words or that picture or whatever it is. Let it be as it is by being aware of it. And then as soon as it vanishes again, bring your attention back to the sensation or emotion. Feel into it and rest. So again, as I said in the brief moments video, that's part of the daily practice, is taking those brief moments. But a critical aspect is to begin bringing attention down into the sensations and feeling them. Now imagine for a second that if addiction is all about trying to escape how we feel and what we're sensing, then bringing our attention into those sensations and feelings and feeling them and letting them be is the beginning of the end of addiction. But you can't just understand that with your mind. You have to begin to experience it. Sometimes things are really scary down there. For example, strong feelings of anxiety or anger. It's okay. What happens in those moments often is that almost everything in our system says, don't feel that. But the more we take these brief moments throughout the day and feel the minor irritations, the minor anxiety, and the minor anger, the easier it is to be with those bigger feelings. So start with baby steps. Start with just anything you feel. Be aware of anything you feel, however minor or major it is. Relax. Take a moment of rest. Let it be as it is. And then do that throughout the day. And the more you do that, the more automatic it is. And the more that you feel directly in that way, the easier it is to rest. Do you remember my talking about the three facets of addiction? We have compulsion, which is the outward movement towards the future. Anxiety, which is that fight, flight, or freeze response that we experience. And then also the self-identity. Our self-identity is often involves thoughts of the past, which all of that carries with it corresponding feelings and sensations. So this kind of resting in the moment and feeling into those energies directly has a profound effect on those three facets. For example, I want you to think about your addictive substance or activity. In other words, I want you to see the picture of the wine in your mind. Look at it. And as you're looking at it, I want you to do nothing with it. Just see it floating in the space around it. And be aware of it until it begins to soften and then disappear. And as it does, notice there's a sensation or something that you're feeling in terms of an energy. Bring your attention right into that sensation. Being really quiet, feeling it, letting it be. Let it be there for as long as it needs to be there until it naturally starts to merge with the space around it. You can stop the video if you need to, but sit with that sensation until it's no longer there. Now notice how when the sensation began to disappear, in some way the picture doesn't look as compelling, the picture of the wine. So being in our bodies like this and really feeling and resting has an impact on our minds. The same is true for anxiety. Think about a fearful set of words or a picture. Let it arise and simply be aware of it. Notice the words spelled out or hear them or see the picture, but do nothing. Just remain aware of it, let it be, and then as soon as it starts to disappear, notice that there's something happening in either an emotion or sensation. Bring your attention down into that. Feel into it. Let it be as it is. Notice the space around it. And even if you have to turn the video off, sit with that feeling quietly until it naturally relaxes. And whenever it relaxes, just notice that in some way that anxious thought doesn't have as much charge to it. It's not as compelling. So again, being with these sensations and emotions has a direct impact on our thoughts. So we've dealt with the compulsion, the anxiety. Let's talk about our self-identity. Let's say that you think that you're not good enough. That's your story. Well, listen to those words or look at a picture that seems to represent that story. Maybe it's a picture of your father or something. Just remain aware of the words or the picture, quietly resting until the words or the picture fade away into the space. And then, when it's gone, rest in a moment without thought. Bring attention into the sensation or emotion that came up with that, and feel that without the picture or the words, and let it be, noticing the space around it. Let it be there for as long as it needs to be there until it naturally relaxes. And it will, as long as you don't put a lot of words or pictures on that. Stop the video if you need to rest with that feeling. So just notice that when we are with these feelings and sensations directly, without putting words and pictures on them, that they have a tendency to either soften or even fade away, and that has an impact on our thinking because it takes the charge out of those words or pictures. They just feel a little bit less compelling. So imagine if you picked up these practices every day where you're taking brief moments of rest and you're feeling into emotions and sensations. This would have a transformative effect on your whole life.